God damn it! Where the hell is Jack? Fucking chicken shit! Fucking shit! Fucking shit!
Hello people, I'm the Anime Hero, and I review anime so you can enjoy it. This video will be a spoiler-heavy discussion on the connection between Devilman and Violence Jack. So, if you haven't read Devilman, please stop this video. Okay, so at the end of the Devilman series, we see the world being ruined by war as the demons were possessing human beings, which then leads to humans being paranoid as they become suspicious of their neighbors. The same can be said with the nearby countries as they became hysterical due to the fear of being nuked. This eventually led for countries to fire nukes at each other, with the end result being the total extinction of the human race. Then comes the finale between the Devilman vs. Demon War, with Akira being killed by Satan. Lastly, the final pages display God's legions of angels who defeat Satan. So, what does this have to do with Violence Jack? At first glance, there seems to be no relation whatsoever, although there might not be any at all. In my Devilman Anthology video, I mentioned that Violence Jack contains appearances of other Go Nagai characters, people who bear some similarities such as Kabuto with Mazinger Z, or a biker named Dante who bears a Demon Lord Dante silhouette on his helmet. The question is the canonicity of Violence Jack, as Go Nagai stated in interviews that Violence Jack is canon only to itself. So, these similar characters may have nothing to do with the respective series, other than making an interesting parallel or reference. The same can be said with the connection between Violence Jack and Devilman, as it could be open for interpretation for the reader's enjoyment. I should also mention that not many of these significant pages can be found translated. Most of it is wrong, but I'm willing to share what I was able to find. In the early chapters of Violence Jack, Jack hears of the Slum King, a man who demands control of what's left of Kanto, Japan. However, when Jack first meets the Slum King, he comes across his human dogs, who are basically Mickey and Ryo. This comes as a shock to the reader, as we saw Mickey die in the Devilman series. As for Ryo, we don't exactly know what happened to him. We just assume he was killed by the Legion of Angels, or at least punished in some form. Further information states that Ryo and Mickey were a couple, while Akira doesn't seem to exist in their lives. Yet we can see Jack being shocked at their appearance. Is it due to their monstrous state, or is it something else? There's also a mystery surrounding Violence Jack as a person, as his motivations are unclear, as he often aids people, but tends to resort to very cruel methods in helping them and isn't afraid of getting his hands dirty. It's also displayed that Jack is some kind of supernatural entity, as some chapters display usage of illusions and other reality-bending abilities, further aided with his powerful physique and his violent nature. An even bigger mystery are the birds following Jack, and the revelation of Jack having three forms: a man, a woman, and a child. It is implied that these birds are part of Jack, or are Jack himself, as they appear when Jack is not around and disappear as soon as Jack emerges from somewhere. This is more explored in the manga Shin Violence Jack, where Jack alternates between his adult and child form. According to certain articles on wikis and such, at some point Mickey and Ryo die in the Violence Jack manga, only to somehow reappear again in the story, but this time Ryo makes a dramatic change. Ryo has returned to being Satan, while the Slum King is actually the remnants of Xenon, and lastly, Violence Jack unites with his other selves, becoming Devilman. It is then stated that Devilman battles against Satan, and this time, Devilman is the victor. So basically, Akira Fudo is Violence Jack. Further proves the OVA CB Chara Go Nagai World, as it clearly declares that Akira is Violence Jack. Interestingly, things are different in the manga Shin Violence Jack, and it's unclear who Violence Jack is. While the Devilman wiki says it's Amon who becomes Jack, I have my personal doubts on this statement. So even with this reveal of Akira being Violence Jack, how does this make any sense if we were to try to make Violence Jack canon to the Devilman series? Well, again, referring to the OVA of CB Chara, during a conversation between Ryo and Baron Ashura from Mazinger Z, it is shown that Ryo is capable of creating worlds due to his powers as Satan, so he may have created the world in Violence Jack. Although there are some contradictions to this theory, Some people say it was God himself who created Earth anew and punished Rio for his rebellion, thus granting him a tortured life as a dog. Yet another series gives a different possibility. In Devilman Lady, when Akira was killed by Satan, he was sent to hell. During a trip to Earth as a ghost, he discovered that the world was different from his own and had no traces of demon influence. Akira instead finds out that he is a fictional character in this world. So applying this knowledge in Violence Jack may infer that Planet Jack could be a different world altogether, created either by the god of the Devilman series, some other god, or by Go Nagai himself. Again, referring to the OVA Shibichara Go Nagai world, God is Go Nagai. Well, more specifically, his self-portrait of a smiley face, which was capable of creating multiple worlds. So in other words, no one knows for sure if Violence Jack bears any connection to any other Go Nagai series, but I think this is what makes Violence Jack fascinating, as it's open for the reader to interpret it in any way he or she wants. In fact, there's one theory I heard that the earthquakes that set the story in Violence Jack may have been caused by demons who tried to escape from hell, which could explain some of the supernatural events of the series. Things get even more confusing in Shin Violence Jack, as it's a standalone story which does play around with the concepts in Violence Jack, such as characters taking different forms or having some sort of parallel counterpart. Much of the confusion in Violence Jack comes from being untranslated and being very ambiguous on the correct order of chapters, as most of the manga is very episodic and contains some unexplained events. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video explaining the confusing structure of this Go Nagai series. If you want more information on certain stories in Violence Jack, then click on the link in the description to see a well-written blog summarizing some of the key events of the story. I'm the Anime Hero and I review anime so you can enjoy it.